We got a new machine coming.
Nice. What's up, Mario?
Hey, what's happening? Let me find my way back to my office. Find my way back to the office here.
So you're making room for a new machine?
Yeah, we got an edger coming right now.
Nice.
So it's gonna go right there.
Sweet.
I just gotta find my way through this maze of pieces. See if I can't find my way back into this. All right. So, Brad, let's start this phone call off with telling us a little bit about yourself and what you're involved with.
All right. So I got the beginning in the trade by being a helper for my grandfather back in the 90s, learning a lot of old school methods, doing a lot of commercial work. I think he actually snuck me out on the job site. He told me, don't tell anybody how old you are. Just go work. Just go grab that shovel over there. Get to work. And did that for, I don't know, five or 6 years before, I was the boss's son. So, you don't get to do anything fun. You're just everybody's bucket boy for a while. And I didn't do a whole lot of installation until probably late 90s, about 97, and kind of took a career of my own, and it quickly progressed from there. I had to be responsible for several crews, still doing mostly commercial work, and then transitioned into pricing out work and trying to be a leader for our company. And then back in November of last year, I was asked to come on board with the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation. And, it wasn't a whole lot different than what I had been doing, raising up, new people into the trade. I'd been doing that for years. We'd get people, that would come in, and I would try to show them the ropes. And so it's kind of the same deal, but just all across the U.S. with training and education. And then, of course, certification. That we do for CTEF, mainly, the ceramic tile installer test, and then the advanced certification for tile installers that we put on.
Nice. I just recently seen that for the first time discovering it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. The industry really embraced the CTI test. You had a lot of manufacturers that liked the idea of knowing whose hands or what capabilities that they had. A lot of our support comes from manufacturers, and then beyond the CTI, those basics, there are very specific things that you can get certified in, because it's hard to wrap like the entire breadth of knowledge of the tile, of tile installation into one little test, right? So we, with a partnership with the union, we actually kind of share that test. They're able to do those in JATCs around the country. A little bit more difficult for us to get it out there because we don't have those facilities, but we're working on some strategies to get it out there and make it available.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's really cool. So yeah. Most of the ACTs right now, if they do get done, they're on the East Coast.
Yeah, we've got a facility in Clemson, South Carolina, where we're working to build them. A lot of them that we've done for a non-union installer has been done at conventions, and you saw how that was. It's not real easy to put it on there. It's they're big modules. It's a lot of lumber. It's a lot of material. Plus not everybody wants to have a crowd of 10,000 people looking over their shoulder.
Right, when they're doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
That is something that over here, I think one of the other too is back then, all them years ago when you started, you guys were a mud shop, right?
Yeah, we did a lot of mud work. I've got galvanized tubs that we don't quite use anymore that soaked tiles, and we did a lot of wet set, and I've had the luxury of chopping mud, and like I said, my granddad was always this jovial old guy that like gave me stuff, and then all of a sudden we got out on the job, and he learned the trade from some Italians in the area, and he started screaming at me and throwing stuff at me. I'm like, who is this guy? But that was just the way that he was taught, and he was teaching me the same way. So yeah, we did a lot. I mean, we actually, the name of our company is Nichols Tile and Terrazzo Company. So we did. My granddad did a lot of terrazzo back in the day too, in the Nashville area.
Oh yeah, that's hard work right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see that much around here no more.
Yeah, I mean, we see it in a lot of airports. There's a lot of government buildings that have it, but it's making quite the comeback, and we don't actually go after that work. Quit doing it probably early '90s, really right before I got into it. I've polished some terrazzo, but I didn't get to place it or grind it or any of that. So I feel like I missed out on some fun stuff that I could have done.
Yeah, no shit. So I mean, we're excited out here. I've been, in our little shacks and things like that out here. Now that the guys seen it, you know what I mean. There's a lot of guys who don't have CTIs that are looking at that ACT model. Like, hey, I want to do that. So I'm like, oh, you gotta get the CTI out of the way first.
That's right.
Yeah, so now I'm getting bombarded with phone calls and emails and shit like that on what we're gonna have to do to get them out here to California and get them done.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to figuring out some strategies that we can work with you on how we can get that out there. We want to honor our relationship with the union, and they're pretty strict about having only ACT people that hold ACT certifications do ACT evaluation. Of course, again, I'm the new dude. I'm still learning a lot about our processes and everything, but that kind of makes sense. So we'll have to get somebody trained up out there on the West Coast that's willing to do it. But I got a few folks in mind that would be good for that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying to get it out there as much as we can, but obviously keep the integrity of the test as it has been, and going forward to make sure that it's something that people are well. First of all, I mean, the whole thing was designed for the A&D community to be able to specify people that they know have specific skills, right? So if you're doing 20 gang showers in a commercial job and you want them all mudded, you could look and see if this person actually has proven that they've had those skills to mud. That's helpful, for somebody that's trying to specify a project to know ahead of time rather than getting in the midst of it, because I'm sure there's lots of people that claim they can do a lot of stuff they can't do, and bite off more than they can chew. And so, and the same thing with ACTs, as I said, for CTI, my mama said I was a good tile installer. My wife said I was a good tile installer. Well, they don't know nothing about installing tile. So being certified by a third party that examines your work and watches you go through it. In the CTI test, we actually do destructive testing. We take it apart and actually see, did you get that coverage that you're supposed to be getting based on the size of the tile? So, it's just a good program, and, we're not anybody real special. It's just that we've got this scoring system and a way to go about it, and we've got the support for it. And so we're really, we take pride in that, and we want to do a good job of getting it out there to the masses the best we can.
Right. So, and this is your full-time gig now.
That's right. Yeah.
No more tile shops.
Yeah, no, yeah, I left the family business high and dry. I say that tongue in cheek. They're still rolling along and doing good. But yeah, I'm out of the day-to-day business, and I'm full-time focused on CTEF, not only what we're doing today, but what we're going to do in the future.
Right. That's cool. So like I mean, I mean, obviously, there's the money talk, but money isn't everything. Like what motivated you to want to make that kind of change from contracting to promoting the education and certifications?
That's a great question. So, I mean, I had my own struggles trying to find good people, right, in Nashville. We didn't have, it's been years since we had a real structured, like a union presence or anything to separate, what people can and can't do. And so, we'd get people come all the time. Oh, yeah, I'm a tile installer. Yeah, I can do this. I can do that. And you could get them out on the job site. And I could tell pretty fast just watching, they ain't installed much tile. And so, I wish that I had understood the CTEF sooner, and I wish it had, a greater reach, because would be a great way for a business owner to know whether or not the person that they're hiring, has the skills that they say they do. Inside of, I had a program written up, and we had just kind of started walking people through it and didn't really have a chance to flesh it out. But, installers would like to have a career path just like every other trade, right? Or every other career. And so, these certifications can serve as a waypoint, in their walk, in their pathway as they go down to moving forward. And I think that so I identified with that. I would have loved to have been able to have a structured, tub hop set up at the shop to be able to say, okay, you've been doing a lot of OJT. We've taught you a lot of things. We've given you a lot of information. Now, can you prove and can you show me that you've absorbed this information? So, that the fact that we do this certification, really identifies with me. And then the UICT and MSBW class is understanding and installing ceramic tile, bunch of freaking acronyms. And then mortar, shower base, and waterproofing is a 6-day class that we put on that I thought was done real well. It's a great structure of a way to bring somebody that's never touched tile. And so at the end of the class, we've got homeowners and DIYers and house flippers. It's at least grasping the depth of what tile installation is like. Some of them may go on to do their own projects, but at least a lot of them know that it's not easy, right? This is something pretty serious to get into. And so we have a couple of other classes that, again, all of these things I just really appreciate the fact that it's an organization that's trying to spearhead the education and training and certification of the industry, because we need it. We need something to help legitimize a lot of what we do. So I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Right, for the young guys.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I had somebody to walk along with me and yell at me and kick me in the butt and tell me what I needed to do. Not everybody has that. And I recognize that I can't train anybody the way that my grandfather trained me with his all of his niceties. But it's still a trade that works best, handing information down. Now, it can be a lot like the telephone line game or the Roomba game or whatever. You lose some information over the course of passing that along. And so the other thing that I've kind of gotten passionate about is methods and standards. I had a guy from Southern Middle Tennessee that was an NTCA member, and this was probably about 14 or so, and he was like, "Hey man, you need to." We had become friends off of the John Bridge Forum, and we talked, and he was like, "Man, you need to check out this NTCA thing." Well, I mean, I've just kind of been steady doing what I had been taught and kind of operating in a bubble. And so I went to an NTCA event and started talking to some people, and I'm like, dang, these people are just like me. I mean, they're hustling, they're going after work, they want to feed their families, they want to be good to the people that work with them, because they realize that they have a responsibility. They want to do good work. They enjoy driving around town and saying, oh, I remember doing that job 10 years ago. They're just like me. And so I kind of got heavily involved, in the NTCA, which led to sitting in on technical committee meetings, sitting in on ANSI meetings, sitting in on TCNA handbook meetings, and so to see that there was actually a way, that had been that long before me. That likely my grandfather was doing a lot of that stuff. Some stuff maybe, some stuff maybe not. But there was something written down about our trade. So being a part of an organization that champions those methods and standards is really something to be, I'm humbly proud to be a part of that.
Right. Yeah, because I'm hearing everything that you're saying, and like sometimes I don't even like to say CTI on Facebook. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're just like inviting it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean that's right. That's right up there with mud versus foam. You know what I mean?
That's right, brother.
Man, but that's something that we here at the Money Bank, we feel very strongly about too. This will be our fourth CTI.
Mm-hmm.
Annually at the Money Bank. So I mean, that's what we're all about too. A little more archaic, but you know what I mean. We're trying to promote knowledge in the trade. I try to tell guys that I talk to guys. I have been doing this for 30 years, 40 years. It's not for you. Yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? You may have that thing like I did where I just wanted to do it for myself. That's on you.
Mm-hmm.
This is for your son.
That's right.
This is for your son and the people that he's going to train. You know what I mean? Like you're right. You know what I mean? I was just working with GTP. And Jason was talking about it, and he got all kinds of flack. I commented on there, you know what I mean? But I'm guilty of stirring it up, you know what I mean? But there's truth to what he's saying. If we don't educate, if we don't certify, if we don't this, we don't that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Our competition will always be, dudes from Home Depot picking trowels up, and on Monday and Tuesday there's tile centers.
Mm-hmm.
Until you make those moves to set yourself apart for a young guy. These guys go, I'm so established in my market. Yeah, you get it. You've been here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You get it. You tile Jesus' mama's house. Okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're not talking about you. We're not talking about you. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
about in the future. You know what I mean? Some of us older guys, we got to do it just to keep it alive. But you know what I mean. But it's really gonna make its mark with these young guys. In the early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. Just getting started in the trade. They're the ones I think. I mean, personally, that are really going to benefit in the long term
Mm-hmm.
over certification and things like that. Because it's happening on a lot of different levels. I mean, there's tile setters running around the country right now trying to get municipalities to have some kind of requirement
Mm-hmm.
for, similar to the way California does for installation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of any other state besides California that has as strict of inspection processes for tile installation
Mm-hmm.
as we do out here. And that's something that, I especially used to get bombarded about the CTI. Like they read the CTI test. Very important said we had to do that to get our secret course. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Right.
That's exactly. You know what I mean? But you got to realize that that's only here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's only here. That's not, over the years, we've had a lot of guys coming from other states, moving from here, from Texas, moving from wherever, you know what I mean? And
Right.
they jump in the field with us one day and they got to go back home. The tile, it's not even really, who's better, who's this, who's that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the requirement is so strict because there's only one way you can do it here.
Right.
You know, in a lot of these counties, you know what I mean? So it's like, so for like a lot of us, you know what I mean? Certification really can be beneficial in these education programs because we don't expose ourselves to a lot of other types of methods.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like across the board, I think that this would be really beneficial. Are you going to be trying to get out to mud? I know that Scott will probably be there.
I don't think either one of us are. Our calendar's crazy full. I'm going to try to make it next year, wherever you have it. And but Bill Parker and Terry Hall are going to be doing the evaluations for the CTI, who are two super dudes. I did a test out in Loveland, Colorado, with Bill earlier this year, and then of course Terry's an old school mud guy, so I know he's got a passion for what you guys have going on and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see the results of it. And again, I do want to come out and play in the mud with you. Of course, you and I had a long conversation on Friday about how our state or area or region, it changed over time, especially with with backerboard, right? And then you get house, your houses start being built differently, and you stop getting recesses and concrete floors for mud on your commercial job sites. And so we adopted, and we were one of those companies where I felt like we had a good grasp on both ends of the spectrum. We could go out and do some type of manufacturer system, or we could go back to just raw site mix and do what we had to do. And I told you, I'll argue all day long that I feel like that it's good to have a knowledge for both, and that taking sand and cement and lime and being able to figure out what you can do with it is important for any installer. So I'm glad to see what you've been doing with that and championing that, because those building blocks you can't appreciate. You can't appreciate what new technologies that are out there until you figure out the cart, right? You got to figure out how, this basic part.
It's here? Yeah. Our machine just got here.
Nice.
Perfect. Yeah, we're so busy here, dude. We are so busy here.
Nice.
One of my buddies is an underwriter for some bank, or I don't know if that's the term you call it.
What's that?
But he processes loans.
Oh yeah.
At a credit union here. And he said that they've been bringing in guys from other credit unions to work extra hours because right now, I don't know if anybody's listening right now is getting like an influx of work.
Yeah.
It's like this recession's, it's kicking in. You know what I mean? But it's crazy because it seems like there's a lot of work, and I'm just having a feeling like it's a big wave because, like I said, these guys will hear that my buddy works at this credit union. He said they're bringing guys in, working at night, overtime, extra work because everybody's trying to get ahead of the interest rates.
Yeah.
They know now if they wait every month, every week, they wait, the interest is just going higher and higher and higher.
That's right.
So they're all panicking right now to get their money, situated so they can make their, funds for their projects. Remodel, across the board, from full scale to just little remodels. Everybody's in a panic right now to get their money.
Stretch that dollar out as far as you can stretch it, baby. It's you never want to rest on your laurels in business and not consider tomorrow. That's definitely something wise.
Yeah, that's me, man. I'm like the guy that sits there, like 2.5 months ago, I was going to Tile and I was going to the builders, and everybody was treating me like I fucking was wearing a foil hat. You know what I mean? And here we are, just 2 weeks ago, very same builders. You know what I mean? Now we're having meetings, talking about what we're gonna do to get through the recession with this. Because companies like ours, we're dependent on cash flow.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We're dependent on cash flow. We have to have volume account work. You know what I mean? Or like you said, these machines, we spent over $1 million this year in machinery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we gotta have that cash coming in. And again, this falls right back into what we're talking about. You know what I mean? You gotta have guys tend to think that we're all hacks. You know what I mean? Us commercial guys, production track guys. Oh, there's just hacks. There's this. There's that. No, man, we're the fucking backbone of this industry. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of custom guys and this and that, but Facebook is not the industry. You know what I mean?
It's a very small snapshot. If you look at, I wish we had like a really, really good industry labor report. I've seen some out there, but I don't like have my finger on the pulse of it about how many square feet of this is installed, type of project, how many commercial projects, how many residential projects. It's a bigger industry than most of us realize, and
right.
And a lot of us get locked into our own little world and don't consider the guy on the other side. I'm kind of poised in a place where I do get to see that a little bit more. And everything that we're doing in our programming, I have to, I'm thinking about how is this going to serve the guy that's out there doing, 5 houses a year that are mega monsters. How do I service the company that's got 450 employees and they're out there, just cranking out commercial work like crazy? How do I do the in between small, commercial, residential, the production homes? I mean, so I think about that a lot, and it can be difficult when we're having some conversations, especially on Facebook. So when people only have a really, really narrow viewpoint, it's hard to explain, why we're doing it this way, or why the industry is operating in this way. And a lot of people are really focused on just what they see, which is unfortunate, because as you start to think about, the size of the industry and the other entities that are there's usually a little nugget that you can steal from that can help make you a better a business person and craftsman.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Because I got into this, and I spent quite a few years on the custom side. You know what I mean? Working for myself and working for small shops and doing custom tile work. You know what I mean? And so I remember what it's like, talking and this and that. But having that experience in the commercial world, in the production world, I feel like it really benefited me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When I was out on my own, because you had those knowledge of methods and processes and things like that. You knew, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. And get through these jobs at a little bit higher of a pace than I guess you normally would. But, at the end of the day, man, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I had to get back to this side of the fence. You know what I mean? And now that I'm back here, I feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Like I tell guys all the time, some guys, they see color. They see color in artwork and all this shit. Like I can tell a lot of guys do these fucking beautiful showers. You know what I mean? And the example I give is I got this rhomboid shower. One of the last showers I installed. It was this real fancy, elongated rhomboids. You know what I mean? It had like a shape to them.
Yeah.
4 different colors. I used to do Starbucks when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And they gave you a plan, and they literally showed each individual tile how it pixelated into the next color.
Yeah.
Where the little deal went to, it was either they had the little swoop to switch from one color to the next, or the floor
like a fade
to do another color.
Yeah.
They mark them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when you snap your grid out, you should spray paint and mark which tiles are going to go in those areas. And so this lady goes, man, I bought these 4 tiles. I got this big old shower. Just mix them up a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay. I might as well be. I can see color just fine. But
Yeah.
the tile, definitely colorblind. You know what I mean? Like, I look at the layout. I see numbers. You know what I mean? I look at the shower wall. I want to measure. I want to do all this. Okay, cool. I'll have the good layout here. I fucking did that thing. That lady came, and I'm getting towards the end of it, and I was like, man, reach for tiles, man. Shit, I'm out of black ones. You know what I mean? I don't got enough left to do, the rest over here. And so I'm looking through all the materials, and I got 4 boxes of white.
Yeah.
I burned up all the reds and all the blues and all the fuzzies. You know what I mean? I'm looking at this wall, and I got four of the same color in a row here, or
Yeah.
grouped together. And I'm like, ah, shit. My mind just doesn't process things like that when I'm setting. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Like all
sure.
my ground tones, my layout, shit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Colors, fuck.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get a little nerdy on that. We've had a couple of projects like with 6x6 glazed dowel tile and like a bunch of colors, like 5 colors, and they're like, yeah, just do it randomly. And so I've asked like, well, what percentage? Give me an idea of how much of this color, this color, this color. But I've gone to the extent of even, gridding it all out on the wall and saying, okay, this section here gets 8. And this section here gets 3 and 5 and 2. And so I don't care how you put it in, but you got to put those in there. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I'm like you. I think about the numbers and the distribution and things like that. And there are artists in our trade. I mean, there are just flat out artists. And that's something else that people have talked about, is that the CTI doesn't really address that. I mean, I'd love to be able to figure out some type of quality certification for an artist. The people that do just take an enormous, crazy amount of time to do something absolutely perfect, because not every project allows you to be able to do something absolutely perfect. There's a standard, right? There's a standard that we have to meet that allows for some things to not be perfect, because not every job needs that. And so, I can appreciate both sides. I can appreciate, both sides of it. If they're doing it correctly, the guys that can knock out 400 square foot in a day, good for them.
Right.
I'm cool with that. As long as you're doing it right and you're getting the coverage and you're allowing for the things that you need to allow for, good for you. I can't poo-poo on that if that's what they want to do. But I can't say anything either about the people that are making a good living, taking 20 days to do one shower. I mean, everybody's business model is going to be different. But going back to the CTI, I just love that there's just these basics, right? There's just these basics that we all need to know, no matter where we are along the spectrum in the industry, because those are the things that really determine, what's right by what again, others before us and current leaders in the industry. And it's not just like one, commercial tile contractor that's saying, oh, this is the way it's got to be. We got to put this in the standard. I mean, it's a consensus from manufacturers, labor, from a range of different types of companies, from the solo guy to the high-end residential to the big volume commercial, and then consultants. That's another thing that people don't really realize that goes into the baking of the cake, is that consultants give us feedback of what they actually have to go out and battle in court, what they see from failures and what they see from, people losing their shirt over bad practices. And so, all those methods and standards are important. And it, like I said, it just gives us a little bit of a rule book to play by. And you know what? You build off of that. You take your business, where you want it to go. Yeah, we're all kind of doing something a little bit different. We probably all don't do something exactly the same, but those commonalities are something that we can celebrate.
Right. And like what you're saying, like, you're talking about like these guys. Oh, that test should have 12 by 24s, and we should use foam board and this and that. I agree, absolutely. There should be some kind of testing pertaining to that, like you said. That may be something that has like some kind of visual aesthetic grading. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's just like anything else, man. If you don't establish that base, if you don't have like a base, like this is the bare minimum base to get into the club.
Yep.
You know what I mean? From here, how many ACTs are there?
Oh gosh, you caught me off guard. I don't really know. I mean, I know that we've got probably. No, it's probably it's probably close to, I think it's close to 60 for non-union. And we're talking about ACT certifications. One dude may have 6, right? But ACT certifications, I think we're around 60, but unions got a ton. They got a bunch. They got quite a bit.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, CTIs for a long time with us. Like, I didn't know anything about CTI
Mm-hmm.
until I seen guys posting on GTP with their number, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, contractors access number? You know what I mean? They're
Right.
like, nah, man, this is my CTI number. And I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And I'm competitive in that nature. I don't like coworkers that are more qualified than me. You know what I mean? So like, I see all these guys on Facebook and they got CTIs and this and that. It's like, well, fuck it, they got it. I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? But that's just the way I am. I fall more into the category of not needing it. You know what I mean? I've made my mark. You know what I mean? And over time, over the last couple of years, I realized that it's not for me.
Yep.
This kid, Charlie Kules, and his other homie, ooh, what the hell is his name? Anyways, young kids in Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably early 30s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great dudes, great dudes. You know what I mean? One of them went to college and just decided that college wasn't for him, and this is the route. And I'll pick on this kid Charlie in particular. You know what I mean? Young dude, new in business, this and that. He came and he clobbered that CTI. I mean, fantastic job. It looked great. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Comes to the money net. A month later, you know what I mean? He's linked up with Wade, another old mud guy from Southern California. And he's got him out there floating showers. You know what I mean?
That's
And he'll
impressive.
be coming to mud this year. So like inside of a year, that guy is CTI certified. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Went to the event. Now he's found himself some old crusty mud dog that's like 119 years old, and he's teaching him how to mud. You know what I mean? And I see he doesn't get a lot of attention. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
would say, other than us in the know. But I was like, man, if I was a young guy, you know what I mean? I'd be all over this dude. I'd be
Yeah.
all over this dude. In one year, you're transitioning from basically I don't want to come off as rude, but you know what I mean? Real limited knowledge. Yes, you know systems, and yes, you know this, but like understanding systems and being able to perform in the field and understanding the trade to me are two different. I want to tread lightly on that because I don't really want to light this shit on fire right now. Two totally different deals. You know what I mean?
I got
Like,
you.
yeah, we're promoting the brotherhood. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're promoting. You know what I mean? Like you and me are what 22, 2,300 miles apart.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You give us a couple of these, and it'll be like we live next door to each other for 30 years, right? You
Absolutely.
know,
It's those
because
common pains, man.
yeah, you know what I mean, and that's what I'm trying to tell these guys. Like that's what we're bringing the money to for. It's like this, when you're all fucked up and you can't do it and you want to quit, and you're looking for a new trade and you're this and you're that, man. We're here.
Yeah.
We're right here, man. We're a phone call away.
Because we've
We've
all
been
been
through
there
it.
at one point in
We've
time.
been through it 100 times.
Yeah, we've
We've
all
been
been
through it a
there.
hundred times. Yes,
You know,
sir.
I don't think I told you this, but the John Bridge Forum, back in the day, that was the only way that tile contractors who weren't in the same city were able to talk
Right.
and to communicate with each other. They did a mud course. John Cox, I think, was president of the NTCA at the time, and he came down there. It was in Grand Prairie at like a Ladder Creek facility down there in Texas. And it was about mud because people were talking about mud and they were kind of arguing about it and this, that, and the other. Well, I don't, and then a lot of them were like, well, there's nobody here to teach me that. I'd like to learn. And so it was cool. They did some modules and just freaking put them up on the big concrete wall of the warehouse, and it was hot. And we got down there, and of course, first thing I went over is I've been in Tennessee all my life. I was looking at the sand. I was like, what kind of sand is this? They're like, well, sand is different from place to place. I'm like, you're kidding me. Sand's different. It's not all the same sand. It was nice and chunky, and I like it a little bit chunkier and a little rougher,
Mm-hmm.
than a real fine sand. I was like, that's nice sand. I'd like to put this in my van and take it home. But we got up there and mudded some walls, did some floors, and there were two guys in particular that are on the internet a lot, Mark Christensen and Joe Renner. and they had never done mud work at all whatsoever. And those two dudes took what they learned at that one little freaking class and went home and just knocked it out of the park. I mean, just took their whole tile setting ability to a different level. You know, with a lot of the newer products, they have devised ways to do a lot of the things that mud does. But when you can think in 3D planes and be able to make it out of nothing with sand and cement, it's hard to stop you. It's hard to stop you with your ability to be able to manipulate mortar. And so you know, it was really cool to see that. And I'm sure there's people that come to your events that are the same way. And being able to keep that alive is again something that I feel like is good for any installer to become a part of. And you're right. You're gonna find what happens when you get too much cement on your pants underneath your knee pads at the end of the day, and you're going to be able to identify that with the dude that's doing it wherever in USA. You know, there's certain things about doing the mud work that you're gonna appreciate your fellow.
No fucking grandpa screaming from the other roof. Mud!
You just ducked to something. He just threw something. He threw something at you.
Man, you run into the craziest dudes, man. And I love it. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, that CTI, that's the base.
Yep.
I thought there was 5 or 6 ACCs. There's more than 60.
I'm pretty sure. You're going to make me have to go back and check my numbers because there's a bunch of them. Well, I mean,
more than 5 is plenty.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean? I had my hopes up there for a little while. I was like, holy man, 5 or 6 of them, I can get them done here in a year or two. You know what I mean?
Well, I know for sure McDaniel's 30, and that's just in the mud category. So, right. I mean, there's quite a few out there. And again, you know, coming on new and seeing these challenges, I mean, that's what my day-to-day is. I mean, I am talking with people and trying to figure out things and trying to plan things and trying things, you know, to see how we can get it out there. Again, you know, my number one is the integrity of it. You know, I don't want to, you know, go out there and just start doing a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't, you know, have that legitimacy about it. But I do want to meet the needs of the installation community and help plan for a better future for our industry. I mean, that's you know, you touched on that. I had my good buddy Bill Vincent from up in Maine was talking about that. He's like, I'm old, I don't need to do this, and I kind of challenged him a little bit and was like, look, man, you need to set the example for some of these younger dudes. How many of us have moaned and griped about some dude that beat us on a job or go to see some work, and you're like, man, I could have done. I mean, you know, a 3-year guy could have done a whole lot better job than this. And so, you know, if we would get behind something that helps people, you know, be able to identify who can and do this and who can't do this, I think we can get way ahead. And then, you know, just to set the bar, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that take the CTI and they learn they don't know what they don't know. And I hear that saying so often, but that is the truth, man. If you've never you know, thought about, you know, certain aspects of what we test on at the CTI test, it's just not on your radar. And so, you know, until you go through and have that kind of a light shown on those individual particular things that we test on, it might be something, you know, you never knew that you needed to know. And so I just think that it's, you know, if nothing else, it's an educational experience. We don't say that we're teaching you anything. You're going to learn it through your own experience. You know, whether you were properly prepared or properly trained or properly educated in the tile industry. And so, because we're fragmented, man, we're so fragmented across this nation. And there's some cool parts about that, again, because we all do something different. But again, like you said, there's some basics that we all need to know, you know.
Right. You have to establish that, like that. Electricians, plumbers, I mean, you name it, air conditioning guys. That's what they do. You know what I mean? Those classes probably are the same that they go to across the nation for the
Yeah.
basic things, and then from there they build out to their specialties. And what it sounds like you're saying is that's in place on the union side, and we just got to get it to our side of the fence because there's a lot of us that we're not union friendly.
Yeah. Hey,
So
I tell you what, I came from a company that did not, was not involved in the union. There was no union presence here. You always hear this union, non-union, and there's this. Scott and I went and built all those modules for the ACTs at the training center in Las Vegas. And I spent an entire week in a JATC every day with 2 union dudes. And man, they were lights out. They were the same. They were the same as me and you. They were the same dudes. They cared about the same things. They just danced to a little bit different beat than we do, and that's okay. But their training center, dude, they did it right, man. I mean, they had guys coming in there after work, like 4 o'clock, hot and sweaty and tired, and they put in another couple of hours in training, and I got respect for that. I mean, I would love for for us to have some type of model for open shops, non-union shops throughout the country like that. I mean, Lord willing, we'll try to do that with CTEF. I'd love to have CTEF North, CTEF West, whatever that we can do. But it's going to take more people, kind of jumping on board with the idea that this has legitimacy. And look, we'll argue all day long on Facebook. I'll answer to anybody that wants to talk about the CTI test. I think I do a pretty good job of explaining what it is and what we're about and what we're doing. I took it, number 1190. I sweated through it, and did it at a convention. And so I can come at it not only from an administrator of the program, but just an old freaking tile dude that wanted to, have some. I wanted somebody else to say that I could do tile just besides what everybody, around me had been saying. So, we hope to grow the program and we hope to get more people that appreciate, what it is and what it can do for your business. I mean, it's not like this magic piece of paper that you just wave in front of somebody and then they're going to pay you more money. But I mean, it is a way, if you use it strategically, it's a way for you to make a good argument for what you're able to bring to the table that not everybody has. And then if we get everybody's CTI, all the capable tile installers that have CTIs, because there's a lot of capable tile installers that don't have CTIs, then we've got that next step. I know how to do membranes. I know how to do B415, shower base. I know how to do 421, do 421C. Guess what? I can show you that I know how to prep and install large format tile. I can do gauge porcelain tile. I can do mud walls. I can do mud floors. I can do grouts, all kinds of different grouts, and I can apply the sealant in the joints the way that they're supposed to be done. Those are the ACT modules. So now you can take it a step beyond. And you know what? Maybe there'll be other certifications. I don't want to just create certifications out of thin air for whatever crazy purpose I may have. I want the installation community to tell me what you want, and we will make it happen. I just need some people to help champion it. So. That's my plan, my evil plan that I've got for the future, and I hope it works out that way.
Yeah, there's a couple points I wanted to touch on, because something I didn't know when I had our conversation there is that CTIs, and we'll just stay with CTIs. CTI testing is not dependent on you looking at the calendar and saying, they're in Idaho, they're in Washington, they're in this, they're in that. I don't see any in my area. You know what I mean? That's a phone call away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Second thing is that it doesn't have to happen at a show. It doesn't have to happen at a Dow Tile or a Foreign Decor or something of that nature. You guys, installers with shops,
absolutely
can host CTIs.
We've done a ton at individual contractors' locations. They wanted to do 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 dudes. Hey, we'll come. we'll make it happen. So we just gotta. I mean, it ain't cheap, right? I mean, it ain't cheap to travel. It ain't cheap to have to stay in a hotel. It's not cheap to have to take. A lot of our evaluators. We have industry reps and we have contract evaluators. Those contractor evaluators, they got to take a day off of work. I mean, they're taking away from their livelihood to go take time to install. I mean, to evaluate these installers. And so, there's and I'll be honest, after coming on board and seeing that we haven't raised any prices, and we've had like 30% inflation since we originally started this, we're kind of behind. And I ain't gonna say that we won't raise the prices at some point in time, but as of right now, it is what it is, and we have to have a minimum number of people participate to justify doing it.
I think a good way to combat that is the knowledge that I gained from you on Friday. And you were talking about how in the West and the North and the this and that. Maybe we don't need to do it that big. You know what I mean? This is a community. You know what I mean? And the VFW halls, you name it. I mean, Elks lodges, but they have chapters.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That are held together by local crews.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's something that I was talking to a couple of guys, here sidebarring over the weekend after I got that. I was like, man, creating a local chapter here in Fresno, for certification for that. We got guys within 2-3 hours, like Harry Hull right off the bat. He's an evaluator. I got Randy Fleming. He's qualified to vet, and he's right here in Fresno.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, like in our local market, this is something that I think that can be, I don't want to say creative, but supportive.
Yeah.
Of the industry, in your your local market to help reduce those costs for CTI. I mean, I was kind of like looking at it. I was like, man, CTIs are $500. Like you say, you got to fly the suit in. You got to build these modules. You got to have that material. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking in my tile shop and I'm like, man, Antonio's got fucking miles of 4.25 right there. We got miles of 12x12 right there. I said, man, we got 4 pallets full of grout. You know what I mean? We got 2 pallets of inset. You know what I mean? Like shit. You know what I mean? Go to Home Depot, get some 2x4s, and we got a little CTI factory right here.
Have a party, baby. We could do it. I mean, you mentioned earlier about taking advantage of your dollar bill, and buying stuff in advance. I mean, that's what we've seen this year coming out of the pandemic, and things are going up, and then they're expecting a down, and a lot of our traditional distributors that have supported us over the years, they don't have the space to do it anymore. They got freaking 20 pallets of stuff over here sitting where we used to do that. So space can be hard for us to find, to house the modules, to keep them safe, keep them from warping, keep them from getting damaged. So yeah, anybody that wants to partner with us on that, we're more than happy to make sure that we take the legitimacy of the test and bring it to your place and do the test and get people certified. I mean, that's what we're all about. I mean, we kind of, Debbie Winter has been chiming in here. She's kind of like CTEF South, because she does an annual test at her place. She's wanting to do some ACTs. That's a partner that we already have, of somebody that's kind of doing, willing to be, do testing at their place and kind of be a remote home for us. And so, yeah, we can, anybody that's willing to, that wants to host or become part of that program, give us a call, shout out. We can figure out something and make something work.
Yeah, if Muddy Vet can be a trade partner with CTEF, anybody can.
That's right. That's right. It's worked out. It's been good. That's right. Mike's got him up at his place and ready to go. And we appreciate it. It was good getting to know Mike a little bit better and watching him sweat a little bit. I always like to watch a guy sweat some, but he did an amazing job. He's a good dude.
I wanted to kind of, some come my age, I've been saying, okay, yeah, old guys, it's not for you. That's one thing I always hear is like, what am I going to get out of it? You know what I mean? It's not going to give me any more work. It's not going to get rich. And guys go like, so what do? You like doubled your prices now? No, 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 no. For me, what my CTI does for you is when you start bitching at me about what you think should be done, or your fucking general contractor comes in, or the fucking designer, or somebody, and they come talking about this and talking about that, and it should be this way, and blah blah blah. If I don't like where a conversation is going, that's either gonna put me in a situation where it's gonna cost me more money than I originally intended, and I don't want to go through that change order route because I don't feel comfortable doing it with that client, or I just flat out am opposed and unwilling to do a certain method. That's what comes out.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
Look, okay, yeah, we're gonna have this conversation right now, but I'm nationally certified.
Yep.
What I'm telling you right now is you can make any decisions you want to make, but my official recommendation and this, and you got to realize that most of the people that you're working for, title is a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a necessity. Most of these people that you're working on for, the ones that are employed, or even the ones that are unemployed, that are beyond that, they are college educated, or they do something that required some kind of certification to do what they do. And when you show them this, they respect that. That changes you from being some jackass out of a Home Depot to somebody that's respectable in the trade. Am I? I mean, you guys know me. You know what I mean? I'm smoking weed, drinking, hanging out, and partying, having buddies at. You know what I mean? I'm just another guy. You know what I mean? But in that moment, I'm more.
You become the professional that they're going to rely on to get their job done right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know so, I mean? And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know they even had those. I didn't know that when I hired you. You know what I mean? This and that. Well, yeah, because, I'm not trying to trick you into hiring you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want you to hire us off of our merit. You know what I mean? Versus, just trying to see a piece of paper and that we're better than anybody else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But when those conversations come up, you know what I mean? Because there are situations where I go, no. I know how you guys have your reservations about this, foam product that you've never seen before and this and that. But what I'm telling you is, I'm a mud guy. I do all traditional installs. But I'm telling you, in this situation that we're presented with right here, a perfect example is a deck I just did with some Studer materials. You know what I mean? $17,000 higher than the next closest bidder. You know what I mean? And they're like, you are on the fucking moon. You know what I mean? And I talked to the general was grilling me about it. And I showed him all the paperwork from Studer, this and that. And he said, yeah, it's cool. It's just a sales tactic, right? You know what I mean? But when I busted that little CTI thing out and I showed it to him, and I told him I was certified, I know what I'm talking about. This and that. I didn't have to come up with all these fucking EJ71 terms and all this bullshit, Nope, just show them the card. And trust me, if you want that deck to survive in the Fresno sun for years to come, you need to use this system because it's warranted, it's designed to do this, and and it will work. I have no doubt in my mind that a multi-billion-dollar company put the correct effort into making sure that they're pushing a product or a system that is going to work efficiently in this manner. Yes, I can let this deck. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I can do that. But, for maximum longevity of the thing, I recommend we do this.
Yep.
That's up to you. Now what? You know what I mean? Before I even got back to the shop, we received a signed contract.
Nice. And that's
what that thing will do for you.
And then that's a good point. I mean, I think that there's a huge, advantage to having proved the written part of doing the written part of the CTI test. I mean, for those that don't know, it's 155 written or question online exams that you can do from the comfort of your home, and it's open book. But it shows you how to go into those books and figure out the answers to the questions. And that act alone prepares you to be able to do that with whatever manufacturer that you're going to use for a system. It allows you to be able to, say, oh, well, that manufacturer has this manufacturer has this manufacturer has this. Which one of these lines up with one of these standardized methods in the TCNA handbook? And then, oh, well, now I can go back to ANSI and see what the installation standard says about this, 11810 material, right? So, I mean, there's the experience shows you and walks you through a lot of things that you can use for a ton of different stuff in your tile career. I've said that I could go out and buy the nicest, fanciest saw that's out there that just cuts like butter. It weighs 10 pounds. It never needs dressing of the blade. It doesn't make any mess. It doesn't suck the electricity dry. It's the greatest saw ever. But if I don't get it out of the truck and use it, then I'm never going to benefit from it. And so your certification, you got to figure out jobs that you can use the certificate. You're going to figure out jobs to use that saw on, right? You're going to figure out how to set it up. You're going to figure out how to get it. You're going to figure out how to keep it safe and protect it. Your CTI certification is the same way. It's not going to look the same over here as it does over here for this guy. Everybody's going to use it differently, but you got to be smart about it. I mean, be smart about it and use it. It benefits you.
It's not a fucking magic wand.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Like, there's a perfect example. Yeah. If you don't pull that fucking thing out of your wallet and present it in the right situation, you know what I mean? You're not going to receive any benefit. I tell the guys here in California, like, why do you have your contractor's license? You know what I mean? Why not? You know what I mean? Well, I mean, fuck, all you do is small tub hops and showers and small remodels, and all of your competition is on license. Not some of it, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You got your license, yeah, that's resistible, you know what I mean? But you're not, when's the last time you had to present it to get a job?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know what I mean? And it's not telling guys to discourage them from getting the contractor's license. It's more like motivation, like, hey man, you got this certification now, this licensing. You know what I mean? Use it.
Use it. Yeah.
Use it.
Absolutely.
You're complaining about pricing, you're complaining about this, you're complaining about that, but you got this sheet of paper and required insurance that comes along with it to enable you to do higher level jobs. Do them.
Yeah. I mean, how many commercial projects are put into somebody's hand because their capacity for insurance? I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, we could all install the whole same way, but that is a next level business thing, that allows you to be different from this guy or that gal or whatever, So yeah, any of those things that you can gain to make your business better, you got to figure out how to use them, and that's that part of the office, of being better in the office. And look, there's guys that get the certification and they don't work for themselves and they work for a company. But most of those companies also have some type of incentive program, for that. And it's a good argument to say, hey, boss, I got my certification. I'm better, better than the next guy. Most companies that champion that, you're not going to have to say that to. But I mean, there's just a lot of good benefits for it all around in a lot of different places in a lot of different business models. And so, yeah, man, I appreciate you being a champion for it and for hosting us at MUD. And appreciate Mike being willing to clear out some space for us to play around there. And I know we're looking forward to getting that certification to the area. I've looked at the 3 people that are taking it. We hope to get a couple more between now and then. So
I'm sure we will.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. We were about the same number at this point last year and the year before, and the quick weeks leading up to it, those numbers pumped up. So I mean, we're trying to help guys get in. We had like a little raffle deal, and we got another guy in, and that's something that the money event will help with in the future. Is getting guys that are struggling to get a CTI taken care of to get the CTI. But there's something that I want to enable. I want, the whole point that we're doing this is about money, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we love mud, we love this, and we want to chop it up, and we want to drink beer with you, but we want you to learn.
Yep.
One of my biggest problems I had with myself was I was out in the field. I never touched the office. I knew how to read plans. I knew how to do this. I knew how to do that. And I thought I knew everything. You know what I mean? And then I go and I get out of my own business, and it was fucked up. You know what I mean? I didn't understand. I didn't understand. I understood the field. You know what I
Right.
mean? I absolutely understood the field. And I know that there's a lot of guys out there like me that they understand top to bottom. They can tile anything. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? That's not going to make you a successful tile contractor.
That's right.
There's a
That's right.
lot more. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I decided that I need to come back to work, you know what I mean, and for a shop. And I'm going to say just over the last year and a half, man, my knowledge, I thought I knew everything in the trade. You know what I mean? And now back here, sitting, right where I'm at now, it's like, man, I don't know shit.
It's
you know,
it's humbling. We talked about it when you
yeah,
missed 3,000 square foot corner over there, or that other side of that column. You never know. I mean, there's all.
exactly,
It's a whole new. It's a whole new thing. And look, man, I learn something every day. Even now, even today, I wake up expecting, all right, what am I going to mess up? What am I going to learn? What am I going to overlook? And so, I think that's a healthy attitude to have. I mean, I want to be proud of who I am and what I've got, but I also want to be humble enough to say, you know what, there's some dude over here that knows something that I don't know, and I'm willing to listen or communicate about it or learn or learn something, learn something new. And that's just a part of anybody that's maturing in their business or in their trade, that they'll have to figure out at some point in time that there's always some way you could be better.
yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
And I think that we'll close off on that. You know what I mean? You're never going to know everything.
That's right.
You know what I mean? This trade, especially right now, is going through some wild changes at a very high rate. And even for us mud guys, you know what I mean? It's from, I talked to the Ardex guy, I'm going to be talking about Tile last week. Just about every powder manufacturer is coming with some kind of extremely modified, thick set or rendering product that's,
Mm-hmm.
gonna help you in the long run. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So we have to get out there and expose ourselves to that stuff. If you want to, like you're saying, there's 30% interest. Like, how are you going to charge more money? Like, oh fuck, interest rates are going up. I need, oh man, now tubs are going to cost $50. Think about this, bro. Interest rates are going higher. People have less money. The people that can afford a $3,000 shower or tub hop, now, you know what I mean? Their ability to pay that $3,000 is diminishing. So
Yep.
you automatically thinking that you're going to go in there and charge 30% more, you're fucking high on drugs. You know what I mean? Because you're not buying more expensive trucks, right? You're looking for deals, right? Well, what the hell do you think those people are doing?
Yeah. There's
You
a,
know?
there's the economy goes like this and like that. We can let our belts out in some, and we got to tighten our belts in other. And I mean, that determines who makes it in the long run. I remember, in the big recession, we saw a lot of tile contractors who had been around forever that didn't make it through it. And you gotta be on your toes, man. You gotta be on your toes in this business. Be a little agile, be ready to jump up and run a little bit if you got to. I mean, you gotta be ready. So, yep.
Those guys from that old recession, now we're old guys, you know what I mean? The old Great Recession guys, you know what I mean? And, these young guys, they don't remember. You know what I mean? A lot of guys have been setting tile, started setting in 2010, 2011 to now. Yeah, you've experienced nothing but growth.
Yeah.
Shit's about to get real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're gonna find out what your salt, find out how much passion you really have for this industry over the next couple of years.
No doubt. No doubt.
You know?
Yep. Like I said,
Man,
we would we would be able to crank up the quality really crazy high and get those really high end jobs. Or hey, you know what? We might not doing it incorrectly, but I mean there are things that you can do with speed that you can't do with custom stuff. And I mean that was one thing that I always felt like we had a pretty good balance of, is that we could step on the gas, or we could jam on the brakes, whatever we had to do to craft ourselves to be who we needed to be for our end client, for our customer. So,
right.
Anyway.
Education.
That's right, man.
Education, certification. That's what the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation. Mud Event. It's all about education.
That's right. That's right.
Propelling you forward in this trade, but getting this stronger.
That's exactly right.
On that note, and I hope to get you here in the mud box again.
Yep.
Not too long, but for right now, man, I'll get up to notice.
Sounds like a plan. See you, brother.
Hey, see you.